Sunday, June 1st. A little later than I've been trying to get on. I'm trying to get earlier in the evening, but it's 11:31 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Let me get my other device queued in so I can see if anybody's joining me. I know it's a Sunday night. Everybody's probably wiped out from having their weekend. I know our weekend, the weather was great. We had a lot of things going on. Our granddaughter was here. I had a team meeting today with my team leader and all the things that go with doing a swap and getting some snacks to take with, and now coming home and trying to get a color challenge taken care of. So you kind of have a little bit of a sneak peek here with this, but this last month in May, I was participating in a challenge, a card a day in May, and I got behind, which is no big surprise. But one of the days there was a color challenge, and that was one of the ones I got behind on. There's another one where these are going to be the colors: Coastal Cabana, Peach Pie, Lemon Lolly, and Fresh Freesia. So stay tuned for those. And I've got my blending brushes all ready for those. So maybe in the next day or two we'll be doing that card. But for tonight, we're going to do Pretty in Pink, Highland Heather, Garden Green, and Crumb Cake. And let's see how it goes. All right. So first off, I thought I would use the Pretty in Pink as my card base. So this is an 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You've heard me say it before, but I'll say it again. When I'm scoring and cutting my cardstock, I figure if I'm going to score and cut for one, I may as well just make two right away. So I take my 8.5 by 11, I score it first, the whole length, so 4 1/4, and then I turn it and I cut it at my 5.5, and then I've got two card bases. All right. So I have another pink card base, Pretty in Pink card base, that I will have available to either do this card again or to do another card. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get that burnished and set aside. The next thing I thought I would do is create a layer for my Pretty in Pink. All right. So I'm going to do a little blending, and I'm going to create a layer with, you guessed it, these dies. So these are the Textured Notes dies, and I'm actually going to use this one. So that one will end up being 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. So not the normal next layer down, but the next size or two down from what we would normally do. So I'm going to go ahead and get some scrap paper here because I'm going to do just a little bit of light blending. Hello, Colleen. Linda. Welcome, ladies. I want to make sure I don't mess up my brushes here. I wasn't paying attention to the comments, so I wasn't actually ignoring you. So I am going to work on colorizing this base a little bit. And I actually think I need to get some more ink on my Pretty in Pink because it's looking a little dry. All right. So I'm just going to add some color so that I can make a layer to go on my Pretty in Pink layer. So let's set that aside and let's do our Highland Heather, right? Yep, Highland Heather. So I'm just going to dab off a little bit so that I don't get a really harsh blob of ink when I start blending. And I just want this to be very oh so subtle. Okay. So then I'm going to run it through my embossing machine. So you can see there's just a little bit of color there, not a whole lot, just so that it's not stark white. All right. So through the magic of being online, guess what? I got it prepped. These dies, Linda, are the textured notes dies, and they actually go with, they were a bundle with, give me a second more. I think they were a bundle or a suite. There was the textured note dies and then the woven textures paper, and I'm sure there were probably some embellishments with that as well. All right, and maybe even the beige ribbon might have gone with that too. I don't remember. But those are the dies. So short-term memory, textured notes dies. All right, so we've got that. And I probably didn't need to close this because we'll go on that again, and hopefully I won't get myself all inky. All right, so we'll put this over here. So this is ready, and that's gonna go kind of like this, okay? So the next thing I wanna do is, I can move these out of the way because we'll pretend that I use those live on camera. So the next thing I would do is another sheet of this, but a little darker. And what did I do with my other piece? I thought I had 4 out here. So we'll pretend I'm using this one, and we'll make it a little bit darker. I had 4. Who knows what I did with it? I might have used it. Who knows? All right. So anyway, I would do this again, but you can tell on here that I did it a little darker than I did on this layer. All right. So this is really light. And then this one I did darker. And the die that I used is here somewhere. And that's this one here. So I would cut it out and then cut it out. And this is the Beautiful Motifs dies. And this goes with a stamp set also that's called Beautiful Motifs. And we're going to look at one of the stamps for this too, because I might use this. You guys will have to weigh in and let me know what you think. Basically what I'm doing is I'm recreating this one that I did earlier in the week, but I'm using the colors from the color challenge and changing it up a little bit. Okay, so let's continue before I get all derailed here on a segue. All right, so we would go and cut and cut. All right, so we'll pretend that I brought out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, my Bossy Bessie, and we've got our little delicate die cuts. All right, so those are going to go on here, but then I also need to use the garden green. So the garden green, I'm going to use this fern piece, and I would put that on here, and we're going to pretend again that I pulled out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and guess what? I have this one cut out as well. Yay me, right? I'm late, but at least I was kind of prepared. So as we pull these in then, we're going to put this behind our little floral pieces. So you can see where there's some similarities here, but there's some differences, right? Now, what I need to decide is, do I want to put this floral piece like I did here? And I'm not sure if you can see that really well, but I stamped with this piece across that card front. All right. So now I have to think, okay, do I want to do that on either the pink base or this white brushed base? What do you think? Colleen, Linda, any opinions? Do we use this and add a little? And if so, what layer? On the pretty in pink or on the white brushed? blending brushes. All right, I'll let you think on that. The next step then is I need to do something with this crumb cake. Okay, so oh, here's that other piece of white that I was looking for. I knew it was here somewhere. All right, I don't really need it anymore, but I need to do something with this crumb cake. So what I thought I would do is where I have this layer here, so Colleen, you're thinking the floral piece to break up a little bit of that pink. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Maybe just to put it along the edges. And then I could just do tone on tone with it, pretty in pink, and maybe see what it looks like full strength and then maybe stamped off. We'll think on that. So I'm, glass block. So I think that would break up that pretty in pink because I do think it needs something to kind of break that up. All right, good thought there. So with this piece, what I thought I would do is instead of just having a straight banner, I thought, oh, Linda, you don't think I should do either? All right, well, let's go back to the crumb cake. So, we have these Nested Essentials dies, all right? And I thought something across here would be nice to kind of work with the floral, all right? So we're gonna cut that out. And I like texture. And I really like this mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. So when you use this, if you've got the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you just need the platform and then the number 4 plate. You don't need the shim and you don't need the cutting plates. So just those two, the base plate and the number 4 plate for the 3D embossing folders. So if I cut this out and then run it through my embossing folder, I come up with either this going horizontally or this going vertically. All right, so now we have another decision. Do we want it to go up and down like so, or do we want it to go vertically? But I need to put my sentiment on there. So what I'm going to do is take the next smaller die. Linda, you like the plain version, huh? Well, I might have to do two and compare them. But I'll post the second one later. So anyway, I'm going to take the smallest of these and I'm going to cut it out. And I've got this thinking of you sentiment that's coming from the Beautiful Motifs. So that is the stamp set that goes with these dies. All right, I'm making a mess of all my stuff. So these are the stamps that go with the dies, and I'm using this sentiment. So if I run this through my embossing machine to cut it and come back and stamp it, that's kind of how that's going to look. All right, and I'm going to put that back up there so we can kind of see how that looks. All right, so here's kind of where I'm at least in my head when I was getting some of the stuff prepped. I don't have a card with it all put together because I didn't want to go that far ahead. All right, so let's do the background with the pretty in pink. And I'm going to do in the middle because I know this is going to cover it. So I'm going to just practice and I'm going to do a full strength. And I'm going to do a stamped off. And the stamped off doesn't really show at all. Can you see that? So we're going to do this. And I think I'm just going to, let's pull this in here so I don't get my glass mat all inked up. We're going to do some of this. And I don't think most of that's going to show. but some of it might. So I'm going to go like that. And then this would go on there. So Colleen, do you think that's enough, or should I go around the whole border? And Linda, don't feel left out because we're going to lay it up against the one that's plain as well. So Colleen, do you think we need more around the whole border? I think maybe yes. Maybe yes. All right, and Linda, you like the sentiment piece that goes up and down with this. That was the first one I made actually, because that's kind of how I thought I liked it. So we could do like this. And you can tell with the color challenge, I'm going to have the Highland Heather, I've got the Pretty in Pink, the Garden Green, and the Crumb Cake. So I've got all the 4 colors that I need to. All right, so we'll put this on here. And then we'll put these on here. And I kind of wanted the stems to kind of make a bouquet kind of appearance. So if we put this on here, I kind of wanted those stems to show at the bottom. What do you think? And then I was going to say no. So Colleen, you're thinking just the 2 corners are okay? I'm good going with whatever the consensus here is. I don't care one way or the other, quite honestly, because I think it looks pretty this way, but I wasn't sure if it was too plain. And then I thought what I would do with these antique pearls, and I had these out for a swap today, so somebody put them in my package backwards. All right, so I'm just going to leave it those 2 corners. All right, so then what I thought, I didn't pull in, we'll do my Highland Heather. No. Let me get my Pretty in Pink marker, my blends. I should have put on my cordless mic today, but I think it might need to be charged. So I'm going to try to add a little bit of color. This is not a very dark pink, but it does make a subtle change from just the pearl color. It does give just a very soft pink. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can, but it is pink. And this is the dark Pretty in Pink. And I could probably use a different marker, like there might be a darker pink, but I think if I just put a couple layers on here, it's going to be fine. And because this is an alcohol blends, it will dry where a regular marker won't dry. It'll rub right off. Now I'm seeing a better look at the border. Oh, you do kind of like the border, huh? Well, we're still going to lay it out without the border, so there. All right, because I have my other piece, okay? So let's get this out of the way. So there's that, and we're going to put our little gems on. Oh, so you can see the color. Yeah, it gives it just that nice subtle pink. And we would probably do something like 2 up here and 1 down here. And I love my Take Your Pick tool. I have probably about 7 or 8 of them, because I have to have them in different bags in different places and different tips on them, and you know, all the things. Linda, you've been to my space, you know I've got stuff. All right, so there's one version, and I really like that, quite honestly, having not put it together before. So this was the first one that I did, and I think this steps it up even more because of that extra layer on there. I think it just elevates it a little bit more. All right, so Linda, let's go ahead and shift these little puppies over to here, and let's see what we think of this one. So that's just the plain Pretty in Pink with the layer that's got just an ever so slight bit of color behind it, so it's not stark white. You may or may not be able to see that on the camera, but I can see it here, and it just gives it a nice subtle look. And then we've got those different elements from the color challenge. Isn't that pretty, Colleen? I'm just, you know, Stampin' Up! Has all the color coordination, and I don't have to be an artist, but they sure do kind of make me look like I'm one. So it's kind of fun. All right, Linda, I'm waiting for your input. We've got the plain version, and I'm going to cover these up because I don't need them anymore. Otherwise, I probably will get inky somewhere. So we have the plain version, or we have the stamped background version. I really like them both. All right, Linda, I'm not hearing from you. Colleen and I are waiting. Maybe we lost Linda. So I'm going to go ahead and put these together. So let's go ahead and put some glue on here because I want to see it all where it's not going to fall apart. And I'm running out of glue here, but you know, I just tap it down on the table until when I tap nothing further comes out. I can really nurse along a bottle of liquid glue like nobody's business. So I think that's pretty straight. I'm kind of using my grid lines here to line it up. I think that's pretty straight. All right, Colleen, go pick up the kiddos, and I will see you next time. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Give me a like if you wouldn't mind. My little thumbs up. And share it if you know anybody who might like it as well. All right, you have a good day, Colleen. And then we'll go ahead and get these put on. Oh, you like the stamped version now, Linda? I do. I like them both. But I think the stamped one just gives it just a something a little bit more. A little something something, I guess is how you would say it. All right. Sometimes it's fun to just get in some of these challenges that I happen across. And like this one, it was just a color challenge. No other direction. Whoops, that didn't go where I wanted it to go. It'll be all right. Some of that will get covered up, so I think it'll be all right. And had I been thinking ahead of time, I would have put these on adhesive sheets. Well, Linda, you were busy creating today, so it's fine. All right. So put that one up here. Hope I put enough glue on that. It doesn't seem like it's fallen off. We should be good. Yeah, I was a little later getting on here than I anticipated, but I was getting some of these pieces cut in that, so we'll do another version so we can see how it turned out. I guess we'll do this one this way. All right. And then this piece, I think I'm going to put dimensionals in the middle to hold that up. And then the very edges, I'll put a little bit of glue on. That one didn't come off. And with the corrugated, I'm just making sure that I've got glue on the parts that are actually going to be in contact with the paper. So we'll put this up here. I want to see a little bit of the stems, but I guess there's not enough really showing. Maybe I should just trim that one off so it doesn't look like it's not supposed to be there. I think I'll trim that off. All right, so it's raised up in the middle and then flat on the ends. And then this one I could probably glue in the middle and raise it up on the ends. And that'll give us even more dimension. Linda, are you working on any, did you start those graduation cards? Or are you still getting your ideas formulated? So the only other thing I wonder if I need to do with this, that's probably enough. But I was thinking if I put some baker's twine, I could add a little bow. Oh, my white is wrapping around the crumb cake one. They must be wrapping in or rolling in opposite directions. So I think what I'm going to try to do is wrap this. I can get this off without ripping all the paper. I wanted to try to wrap the twine around here, but that might have been a mistake. We'll just put another dimensional on there. So if we put this on here, we could put a bow. I need to have a little bit more thread on this side. Let's see what it looks like with a bow. Well, that's kind of fun. What do you think of the bow, Linda? Might do my signature grad. Oh, that'll be cool. What do you think of the bow on there, Linda? Colleen had to leave, I think. I don't know if anybody else popped in, but nobody else is talking just yet. So with or without the little bow, that would just seal the deal with the crumb cake on there. I kind of like it with the bow. So I'm going to put another dimensional on here. So I tore that other one off. And there. I like it. I like that. So if I did another one, I'll have to cut out, I'll have to do more of the blending brushes. But this can be the background piece. Where's my die? Here's my die. Yeah, there's a little smudge on here, so I can do this to do the background piece. I'll do another motif piece with these. And I had, there we go, I've got another garden green already. I have another one of these that would go horizontal, or I made one that goes diagonal too, but I think that's a little busy. Yeah, I think the bow looks kind of cute on there. All right, so I'll probably use this one just because this one makes it look a little wonky. I'm not sure. We'll see. All right, so that's all I'm going to do for now. I will rework a second card, and I'll probably just do it with the plain background and see how that looks, or maybe I'll stamp it off because then it would be almost too light to see, but it would still be something to break up that background. So that's it for tonight. You were hoping I'd put twine or ribbon on it? Yeah, I think ribbon might be a little too heavy, but I really, and that corrugated embossing folder I think adds a little rustic touch to it. It looks kind of countryish to me. So, all right, well, that's it for tonight. It took me a little over half an hour. Oh no, we're right at half an hour. So if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. You like this? I found this when we were on our vacation. Yeah, so give me a thumbs up, share if you've got anybody that might enjoy this as well. And until next time, happy crafting. Thanks for popping in.